So, yes, we are very excited to welcome our next speaker. Michelle Gill has been one of the original major contributors to our professional learning network. She's always participated in book studies that we do out on um, Twitter and Facebook and the socials, and she's always leading. We watch her leading her learning community and the teachers that work in her district. So as a program leader, she's always been so innovative in the way that she offers PD. And she's actually reached out to us to support some of the things that she's doing in her district in Abbotsford. So I just want to thank Michelle for everything she's done over the years. You can see her bio here, where she is part of the curriculum department in Abbotsford, and she's passionate about multilingual learners. She is an ELL helping teacher, and that is a role where I guess she has the opportunity to use different, like I said, innovative ways to support her teachers. So I know we can all benefit from this. I'm going to let Michelle tell a little bit about her, a little bit more about herself. And we just want to thank you, Ton and Katie, and I want to thank you, Michelle, for sharing today. I am putting this handout right now in the chat because she's sharing this handout with us, and it will also be on the ML Summit website. So Michelle, without further ado, I'm going to stop screen sharing and I will let you take it away.
And thank you for that warm welcome. If you go to the next slide, Carol. A swale and good day. So today I am presenting from my home in Abbotsford, BC. Beautiful Abbotsford, British Columbia. We're located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Mathgwi First Nation and Sumath First Nation. I recognize the land as an expression of gratitude and appreciation to those whose territory I reside on. It's a way of honoring the Indigenous people as they are the original caretakers. So like Carol said, my name is Michelle Gill, and I am more than excited to be here with you today. I have been attending the ML Summits right from the start, way back when it was virtual. And I actually remember way back when I was just starting Twitter and I saw Katie and Ton talking about a book that they were planning to read, and it looked so good, and I jumped right on. And I would really say way back 7-8 years ago, that was the beginning of me shifting how I saw PD, taking ownership of my own professional development instead of looking for others to take care of that for me. So I'm very glad to be here presenting with you today. Like Carol mentioned, I've created a handout, so you will have access to the different things, strategies, artifacts I shared today. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. I will try to answer anything towards the end, or if Carol, you notice a question and you just want to bring that up, please do so. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, you're going to go back to that slide just a little one second, Carol. So a little bit more about me. As Carol mentioned, I work in the curriculum department for the Abbotsford School Districts, which means I am the lucky person that gets to support our teachers. Specifically, I work with educators who support multilingual learners, but we are again shifting away from that. It is just all teachers because we want to bring that inclusive atmosphere and dynamic to every single classroom in the district, and we want to provide our students with equitable access to the content, to all the fun stuff, instead of pulling and having them secluded in a small room off to the side. So just a tiny bit more quickly about me. I've been in education for the past 20 years. Worked as an EA during my undergrad. I've been a teacher, a vice principal, and currently in my role now with the curriculum department. And a huge shout out to my team. Uh, as you know, working in the schools, having that core team makes all the difference. A team who questions you, who asks those critical questions and always brings you back to the why. So I'm very lucky to have a strong team. So basically, what we're going to be talking about today is how we can shift and redefine professional learning opportunities for educators. Simply put, my hope is to inspire you today to create one small shift back in your buildings. So, as I mentioned, I've had and worn multiple hats in my career, over my career. And I feel very lucky because it's given me a lot of perspectives because I've received PD, I've delivered PD, I've planned district-wide PD. So I have a really good understanding, I think, of where we need to be going. If you can just go to the next slide, Carol. So why now? Why now indeed? So this is a meme when I was preparing this, or a little visual that I just thought was hilarious. So it's from Abbott Elementary. Not sure if you guys are familiar. And the lead says, Jacob and I came in together last year, 20 other teachers. We are 2 of 3 left. It's very accurate. I don't know what's happening in all your districts, but over the last few years, teachers here have felt very, very different. And it's beyond all the staffing shortages, our low retention of teachers. Morale just isn't the same as it used to be. Something that hasn't helped, if I'm being completely honest, is that we have amazing leaders in our district, but some really love a new initiative. And I'm sure most of you can relate. With the best of intentions, there somehow seems to always be this push for something new, the new buzzword that's going to solve all our problems when we're still working on that old initiative. And when I say old, I mean 6 months ago that was rolled out. So sometimes in our hope to make things easier for teachers, more manageable, we know there's a disconnect. So I'm hoping today to introduce a few things that maybe you can take back to your building. I'm seeing a few things in the chat, so a lot of people can relate. But I'm hoping that you take something away today that can help you and the teachers in your buildings and ultimately the students in your classroom. So I know that teachers are willing to learn and they want to introduce and incorporate different things into their strategies, but we can't do that unless something is taken off their plate. So it really requires our district leaders to take a long look at our long-standing practices and really consider what is the purpose? What's the why? Is it still having that impact? Right? Sometimes we don't have to make a dramatic shift, but we just need to slow down. We need to allow teachers to breathe and make sure that they just have everything they need to do their jobs well on the daily basis. Then maybe we can start incorporating small things, just baby steps, and all those baby steps every single day of the school year will lead to great gains. So that being said, hoping to put things in context for us who lead in buildings, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a district administrator, a building administrator. It's just leading and sharing ideas in your buildings. Uh, we know that there's no perfect Prody. Um, Gonna quote an author, Richard Shiz, and I will just kind of give him a shout out to this book. I have it in one of the slides. Oh, I don't know, you guys can't see it, but it's called The 4 O'Clock Faculty. And it came out a number of years ago, and it really has some fantastic ideas. And he compares the idea of Prody to Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Because no matter what, Prody is going to be either too hot, Prody is going to be too cold, too short, too long, too interactive, not interactive enough. So the first thing that I would always suggest is just ask teachers what they need, right? We know there's not that one size fits all. So we need to differentiate our sessions, what we're throwing out. We need to provide teachers with multiple choice and pathways to their learning. And we have to make sure that we're providing continuous support, not the one and done. And ideally, I know the last one is hard, but we want to try our best to embed PD into the classroom and into our schools every single day. Again, this will look different in every building. Our district has instructional coaches, which is what I get to do. So usually when I give a session or we share some information, I try my best to go into the buildings to support teachers in the implementation of that. Knowing that there's no perfect Pro-D, I try to ground myself in 3 goals. And if Carol, you can go to the next slide. The 3 goals I always try to keep in mind and ask myself is this session going to be accessible to teachers? Is it going to be impactful? And is it going to be manageable? Because we really need systems that help teachers work alongside teachers rather than setting up PD that's being done to teachers. So just to review, when I say, is it accessible? Are all teachers going to be able to experience and have access to the information that I'm giving out? Because we know there's groups of people that are willing to do Pro-D. All of you who are here on a Saturday, giving up your time, no questions asked, you're just like, give me all that learning. Okay, we got you. Then there's going to be a group that's just unwilling for whatever reason. Okay, that's fine. Maybe it's not the time right now that they're going to wake up on a Saturday, but you know what? They may view this later today, maybe next week, maybe right before school starts in September. We still need to make things available for every single person. And also those people who are just unable due to family obligations, maybe they really wanted to be here this Saturday morning, but just other things come up, right? It's not for us to judge, but we just want to make sure it's there. Teachers have access to what they need. And is it given to them in a convenient way? I remember having a fantastic speaker come to our district and shared about this new reading strategy, and we were all excited. And then we learned just at the very end, oh, we needed to buy these 30 books in able to do everything that was shared. So, you know, for some schools, it was easy to go and ask their admin, hey, can I just have those resources I need? It wasn't the same for everyone. So when I deliver PD, I really try to give teachers all the tools necessary so they can go back to their buildings tomorrow and get started. It may not be the whole package, but it's going to be enough to get them started for what they need. When I talk about being impactful, everything always boils down to, is it making a difference to student learning? Because that's the goal. That's why we're all here. If it's not, we need to rethink why we're doing this. Is it manageable? Are we providing this information in small, ongoing chunks? Do teachers have what they need to continue their learning? What they get from me just might be the seed planted, but there are so many individuals out there to help us continue our learning. And I continuously call on Katie, Ton, Carol, the whole Seedlets family. And it's been wonderful. And I'm hearing it from our teachers. They appreciate it's not the one and done. These individuals have spoken to our district. It's been really rich and appreciated by our educators. So 3 things always trying to ground my work in: is it accessible, impactful, and manageable? So let's keep going. For today, I'm going to share with you 3 strategies that work really well for me. Okay, I'm going to take you through a listen, write, and reflect. So what that looks like is I'm going to share about my 1-5-15 bulletin, which was an idea that came out of Richard Schitt's book, The 4 O'Clock Faculty. I kind of tweaked it, made it my own. I'm going to talk about leveraging technology to make information accessible. And I'm going to talk about something that we do in Abbotsford called our Teach It in 10. So you're going to listen. Then I have a sentence frame on the screen right now. If you have a pen, you want to jot that down, you can use this sentence starter. One takeaway based on this information is, it's just an idea. If you have something else you want to jot down, go for it. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do that, to process. Something that's really hard in Pro D, but we rarely give teachers enough time to do, is to let things digest. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to jot down a takeaway, and then I'm going to ask you to add it to our chat. Okay, so if you really are at the point that you just can't think of anything at the moment, that's okay. Just read the other ideas that your colleagues are putting out. And I was so glad to hear Jeff talk about building upon an idea, right? That's how we're making meaning. We're understanding. We're just creating new knowledge. So let's move on. The first strategy that I want to share is a 1-5-15 bulletin. This has really been one of the most impactful things that I've produced in our district. So each month on the 15th, I send this out. It goes to all our teachers, K to 12. There is something for everyone in this. So I start with a theme. And it's always connected to something that we're doing in the district, whether it's that new initiative that, it is coming out there, so we're trying to support teachers with, or it could be something that a teacher mentioned that they want to learn more about. It's created using a platform called S'more, okay? It is a fantastic platform. It's really easy to use. It allows me to add videos, and I could do it easily. Another thing that I love is I can send out the link for this newsletter. And if I notice, oopsie, I made a little mistake, I can go in and edit it, and that link doesn't change. So those are some of those practical things that really help as somebody pushing out Pro D. So in my first example, I've included 3 that should be in the handout. My first example revolves around PSYOP. So we just decided to do a district training for all our teachers. And about 2 weeks before we started this session, thank you, whoever's navigating. You're doing it much better than I did. So I can see the screen now. Yeah. The bulletin is separated into 3 chunks. So we have something that's just really quick, 1 minute. And it's usually a visual with a couple lines explaining what the theme is. The second piece of the bulletin only takes 5 minutes, right? Could be an article or a little video. The last one is 15 minutes. So in this particular example, it was a podcast from Ton. Okay. Really easy. We send it out. Teachers engage with it on their own time. Now, Carol, if you can just click I know we're running out of time, but the 2 minutes, and maybe we'll just shut that down a little bit earlier. But if people can just think about how you can use this maybe in your own practice. So the idea of sending a newsletter out, information is delivered in small chunks, 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 15 minutes. How can we encourage teachers to engage with this before introducing a big topic to them? I've included 3 examples. You can click that link that Carol put in the chat at the beginning in the handout to take a closer look at some of them. But really, just the gist. The big idea is providing educational topics in small bites for people to have whenever they have time. Seeing some great comments there.
Yes, I would encourage people to look at the chat of how people are commenting on the power of this. It's very powerful, and it overcomes those challenges you were saying we have at the beginning.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm just going to ask you to go to the next slide so I can talk about second strategy. And it's leveraging technology to make PD accessible to all. So in the 2 examples, they're digital books that I'm sharing with you today. And again, I'm pulling from real things that we do in our district. So like I mentioned, we did a district-wide PSYOP training. So first step was the 1515 bulletin that was given out a few weeks before. Then as we were preparing for our sessions to begin, I created 2 books using Book Creator. So again, it's another digital platform. And I know not everybody loves technology. I hear you, I understand that. Book Creator really is, though, one of those intuitive platforms that is so easy to use. Specifically, I was intentional about choosing this because our district has bought licenses for everybody, K to 12, students, educators. So what a great way to get teachers to become comfortable with this platform that they're going to be using with students and navigating the platform than by using it in their own learning. So we created 2 books. The first one that you see on the top is a participant handbook. So we put some summaries of all the chapters. We included links to podcasts, different articles, so on and so forth. We also embedded places for teachers to document their reflections. Okay, was amazing. The second one is shared resources. So every single strategy we talked and modeled in our sessions, we included a quick kind of how to do that, along with either a video or the Blackline Masters needed for it. So the feedback that we got from this was just amazing. Carol, if you can go to the next slide. Here are just 2 visuals. So the first one is just a page from the shared resource handbook, digital book. So it was the hexagonal thinking strategy. Nothing brand new, been around forever, but giving teachers the time and space to engage in it, in the activity, making those links to SIOP very clear and explicit, and giving them the templates, it was a game changer for them. So our shared resources are filled with this. The next page, you will see we include, oh, sorry, not the next page there, but if you can go back to the slide, but the other pages I've included were videos that Katie, Carol, and Ton actually recorded, shared with us, and we were able to easily embed that in the book. So again, experts from the field that our teachers have heard from, that they are familiar with, building on and layering that learning. Just amazing. I know we are short on time, so I hate doing this because I'm talking about Pro D, but I'm going to jump over the 2 minutes. But I'm just going to quickly go into our third strategy, and that is our Teach It in 10. Okay, so our Teach It in 10 is something that is made for teachers by teachers. So lots of our building admins are doing this for their staff meetings. We've always known that, the best learning is from the teacher right next door, but we don't have the time to sometimes visit, or we don't have coverage for our classrooms. What the Teach It in 10 is an invitation for teachers in your building to quickly share one strategy, right? Just show us how you're using it. It can be quick. Well, it is quick, and it can be implemented the next day. Again, this is all digital, so it can be shared out to multiple buildings, multiple districts, even across the globe. I mean, it's just, again, accessible, it's impactful, and it's manageable. Of course, we did one with comprehensible input using Talk Read, Talk Write from Nancy Motley, one of our favorites. But again, it honors teachers, and they just really, really appreciate that. If we can just go to the next slide. Some of the resources and tools that I talked about today was Rogue Leader, same author, a 4 o'clock faculty, fantastic resource. DIYPD, of course, from Carol, Katie, and Ton. And the 2 digital platforms that I utilize, Book Creator and S'more, couldn't say more positive things about them. Easy, easy, easy tools. So I know I'm a little bit over, but if I can just ask you to please put a question in the chat. I will promise to get back to them. We'll be here for the debrief. My email and Twitter handle is also available. Reach out anytime. If I can clarify or connect with you, I would be more than happy.